We talk about the biography. The biography episode from this past week. Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon. The man who oozed coolness, according to The Miz.
Machismo. He oozed machismo.
Well, no, he said he oozed coolness. That's what The Miz said about...
What Razor Ramon would say was that he oozed machismo.
Well, at various points in his life, apparently we've come to find out he was oozing all sorts of things. Here's another guy that I didn't know that much about his personal life. I mean, obviously, we've shared numerous locker rooms. I've worked in matches involving him, etc. But it's not like we sat down and had long conversations. I was not part of the clique. So I didn't know about his personal life, his younger days. I knew about the altercation that he had, when he was bouncing at the strip club that, with the gun, that the guy got shot.
Our theme music was composed by DJ Lederman. Marketplace's executive producer is Nancy Fargon. Donna Tam is the executive editor. Neil Scarborough is vice president and general manager. John Connor, have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you back here.
The more you try to control your symptoms, the more you accidentally tell your brain that those symptoms are dangerous. And it makes your heart beat faster and your breathing speed up, and you start to feel dizzier and more panicky. But this guy figured it out, and I love how he explains it. So here's what John wrote me. He said, I have suffered with panic disorder for 30 years, usually triggered by travel. And I've been told over and over again that I needed to learn how to calm myself down. So I learned to meditate, to use breathing techniques. I spent countless hours in therapy. I tried hypnotherapy, EMDR, EFT, etc. But nothing worked completely. I certainly became a more chilled and mindful person, and I got better at managing the symptoms, but I still lived in the fear of the what-ifs, the super panic attack that my skills couldn't control. So John got all the common advice you'd expect about stopping a panic attack, which basically consists of, geez, just calm down, bro. Take a deep breath. And this is like surprisingly common advice, which those of you watching this video already know is unsurprisingly unhelpful with panic disorder. But then John had this realization. So he said, I had read the advice of running toward and embracing the anxiety in the book Dare by Barry McDonough, but now I realize I didn't get it at all. I was trying to embrace it by being zen-like, by observing and letting the feelings move through me, but I was still giving the feelings ultimate control and treating them as something to endure. So 2 weeks ago, I was due to fly on a family holiday from the UK to Austria, and I was beside myself with anxiety. A fellow panic disorder sufferer even gave me some Valium, which I was planning to take as a last resort. But the day before we left, I stumbled across your video, and it finally clicked. Stop trying to calm yourself. Stop trying to distract yourself. So, I wrote down my panic stories and I gave them numbers. Okay, so let me explain what John is talking about by explaining what panic stories are. So, panic stories are the stories, the lines that your brain starts telling you when you start to experience the physical symptoms of panic. So here's some examples. Let's say you're stressing over a deadline at work and you start to feel nervous in your body. And your panic story may sound like, oh, it would be awful if my anxiety took over, right? Or if you have a fear of spiders and you're staring at one right now and you notice your breathing is becoming quicker and more shallow. So your story might be, what if I pass out? Maybe you're trying to get healthy by starting to work out again and you notice that your heart is pounding. So your panic story might be, I'm having a heart attack. What if this is a heart attack? What if I die? Right? And then another panic story is, oh, I have to make these feelings go away. I have to force myself to calm down. So these panic stories typically follow a pattern. There's the trigger, like from these examples, the work deadline or the spider or the workout. And then there's the physical symptoms. So the nervousness, the shallow breathing, the heart pounding. And then there are the panic stories, which are your brain trying to convince you that those sensations, those feelings in your body are dangerous and that you have to control your physical response. But trying to control your panic just makes your brain feel like you're in more danger, so it increases your anxiety. And that spiral fuels panic attacks. So the first skill is learning to recognize these thoughts as being stories and that they're not necessarily true. So, going back to John's story, we know he gets triggered when he flies on a plane. When he's on the plane, he starts to experience physical symptoms of anxiety. And in the past, he's tried all kinds of strategies to calm down. But that fueled the panic attacks. So this time he tried something different. He said, I got on the plane and as the door closed, the anxiety began to rise.
With the gun, and the guy got shot.